I am back and I'm going to talk about keto and why I decided to go keto to lose the 15 pounds that I gained during perimenopause. So prior to going keto, I had tried everything. Counting calories, I'm only barely 5 feet tall. So my maintenance calories are still only 1,500 calories. I don't need a whole lot. If I'm working out, I can do more than that. But I did all the calculations like I used to do. I know how to figure out how much your body should get or take in to lose weight. 12 to 1,300 was it, plus a little extra if I worked out. So for a while there, I did that. I tracked my food very religiously. I counted everything. I was only focused on calories. I was starving. That didn't work. Okay, so did not work. Maybe a pound or two, and then would come right back. Then I decided to try intermittent fasting. That worked some. It was very hard to adjust to that. I have maintained that over time. I feel like it's important to maintaining weight, but it still wasn't helping me lose dramatically. So, I tried high protein meal prep, like just high protein, don't even count the calories, not at all. Just try to get in, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Let's try that. First of all, it was hard because I don't like meat in general, but did not lose the weight. So my last resort after doing lots of research and this and that was keto. And I wasn't excited about keto because I don't love meat. I love carbs. I just do. I mean, to me, everything good in life is a carb. So I was dreading this, but at this point, after months of trying to lose the 15 pounds I had put on, I was desperate to try anything. So I'm a researcher. So I did all my research online. I listened to podcasts. I watched YouTube videos. I read books, and I decided that I was going to go keto. And since my body had pretty much entered a state of carb dependency or insulin resistance, I found Mark Sisson and his book here, which is the Keto Reset Diet. I'll link that below in my description. This one, and I found it on Amazon. I'll put that link right there. This one talks about how to reboot your metabolism in 21 days and burn fat forever. And the reason you have to have a reset is, if you're like me, you have gone years and years and years thinking that fat was the enemy, right? So previously in my younger years, low fat, low fat, low fat. It didn't matter the quality of your calories. You could have, as long as you weren't having fat. And so it was really hard for me to unprogram my mind. Turns out I have to unprogram my body as well. And so in order to do that, you have to go through a time period where you're basically training your body that fat is not the enemy. Now, it needs to be healthy fat. It shouldn't be saturated, deep fat fried, things like that. Natural fats that occur naturally in food can be really good. They have a lot of benefits for your body. So you have to reprogram your body so that it knows that fat is okay and to slowly get it off the dependence upon carbs. And that is where I was, man. I just love carbs, always have. And I knew it was going to be rough for me because y'all wouldn't believe how many things have carbs. Now, I also used to think it was kind of dumb. It's like carbs are natural. Body needs carbs for energy. Yes, that's true. That's all true. But what I learned with keto was that if you have accumulated a lot of fat, the body does use carbs for energy, right? But here's the thing. If you're constantly feeding your body carbs, it's just going to use what you're feeding it every single day for energy, constantly. You're just constantly giving it carbs. Well, it's going to do that. It's never going to get to where it draws upon your fat stores and what your body already has. The only way it's going to get to that point is if you stop feeding it carbs. When you do that, after 2 or 3 days, it has no choice but to go into the body's reserves and start to pull from those. And that is when you start burning fat and you go into a state of ketosis. And that's a real scientific form. I won't try, word. I won't try to explain that, but you can certainly read up on it. And it made sense to me when I started reading up on all the science. So I did that, and I will tell you that the first week or so was really hard for a variety of reasons. One, you have a very limited diet. So you're mainly in the beginning when you're doing the reset, you are making sure that you're getting plenty of fat, okay? Because again, you're trying to teach your body that it's okay to have the fat. And so I'm adding things that I have traditionally avoided, like butter. I had switched to olive oil based type margarine, which I still think is good. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm talking regular butter. I was having full fat cream, for example. That's really good, making your chicken with that. I was having red meat with fat. I was having chicken thighs instead of chicken breast. I was having bacon, full fat bacon. So this totally went against my grain for the first few days. But I'll tell you one thing I learned really quickly, and that was that when I ate what I was supposed to eat, I was not hungry. For hours, I was not hungry. So I didn't need anything to help me not be hungry. I just wasn't, because I had put in satisfying fat and protein, which is the focus of this reset. Protein, healthy fats, very, very limited. And when you're starting out, it's not necessarily purely healthy fats, just naturally occurring fats, okay? I was not hungry. In fact, when it came time to eat, finally, a few hours later, I was barely ready to eat. But I was like, okay, I'm going to follow the program. I'm going to eat what I'm supposed to eat. And I also kept my feeding window really short. So a max of 8 hours a day would be my feeding window. But the first week was really rough. I did get what's called the keto flu, and that is where you kind of start to feel run down, like maybe you have the flu, like you have some type of a virus, because your body is adjusting to this. It's getting some toxins out, I suppose, entering ketosis, and it's just a little unpleasant, but it only lasted a day, maybe 2 days for me. And then it was okay. The hardest thing is planning the meals, which you have to shop, which what's great about this book is that he gives you recipes and you can plan your grocery list around what's in here. So if you plan, you can do it. But I will tell you that miraculously, I had more energy. I was never having that crash, that you get sometimes after lunch when you've had whatever your normal lunch, high carb, and you crash about 2 or 3. That was not happening, because I wasn't spiking my blood sugar with those carbs way up here and then way down there, crash. No crashes. I had energy. I had a clear head. The fuzzy head that I was talking about that had become a problem for me had improved with my HRT, but with keto, it pretty much eliminated it. I have not had fuzzy head in quite some time. That was fantastic. Plenty of energy, sleeping well, no fuzzy head, no crashes, and not hungry. So after a couple of weeks of that, even though it was very limiting, it's hard to shop for it. You lose a lot of the weight in the very beginning. Some of it's water weight, but I lost like 4 pounds in the first week or two, and I'm like, whoa, something's finally moving the needle. And so I kept with it. Now, granted, because I was pretty close to my goal weight, I only lost about a pound a week after that. It still took me a good 4 months to lose 15 pounds. That's okay. The point is that I found something that worked for me. So the last few months, I've been on what most would say is maintenance, and I'm still playing with that. I'm trying to figure out what that is. I personally don't feel like I can eat pure keto the rest of my life, but by experimenting with the maintenance, I have discovered that I'm going to need to eat low carb for probably the rest of my life to maintain this, and focus on healthy carbs, which I'll get into that. With keto, you start working certain carbs back in as you go along. So it's real restrictive in the beginning, and then it lets up a little bit. But I think low carb, no sugar, very little sugar, which is my weakness, very little processed foods. That is what is going to be key for me to maintain my weight loss for this last, third of my life. And I'm happy to do it. That's one part of the equation. I do think that exercise and all of that is important as well. I'll be talking about that in some other videos. But in the meantime, highly recommend that you study up on keto if you've had trouble losing the weight. See if it's a good fit for you. Check with your doctor. I also always want to recommend that, because it's not recommended for people with certain health conditions. For me, it was fine. And see what you think about it. I'd love to hear if you've tried it, if you haven't tried it, if you're a fan, if you're not a fan. Feel free to put that in the comments, and I will talk to you on the next video.